So in previous session, we have seen about what is meant by bytecode and how bytecode is going to be executed and how our JVM works and why Java is called as a platform independent. We have seen all these in previous session. So now today we are going to discuss about Ripple tool. 1 minute. Okay. We are going to see about Ripple tool and also about our some basics and also about PVM. PVM is nothing but Python virtual machine. So today we are going to see about these three concepts. First, I will talk about Ripple tool. REPE. We should not spell it like that. We have to call it as a REPL. But generally, we will call it as a Ripple tool. So let us see what is meant by Ripple tool. Where we can see this Ripple tool. So if you are going to consider our Python shell, so the shell is called as a Python shell, or we can call it as a Python interactive shell. So here we are going to use a tool called as Ripple tool by default. Okay, why we are calling it as a Ripple tool means I will execute a few statements so that we can understand why this interactive shell is called as a Ripple tool. So if you observe here, I will see here. So first statement, print hello. So now here, see here, if you see the statement, what I have done here, I am going to write the statement. First thing is, so whenever I am going to press and enter here for this statement at this particular point, what happens? Internally, the statement will be read by the Python virtual machine, and after that, it is going to evaluate. Okay, let us see. When I am pressing the enter, what happens? Automatically, we are going to get the output. So internally, what happens means whenever I am going to press enter, internally it is going to read the statement what we have written here on the shell, and it is going to evaluate our statement. That means whether the statement is correct or not, whether the syntax is correct or not, whether the function is present or not. All these things will be evaluated by our Python virtual machine, and it is going to return an output. So that means what here we have seen two things. One is what Ripple. So Ripple tool. First thing I will explain about Ripple tool. So R is what? First R means what? Read. First thing what it is going to do, read the statement. After reading, what it is going to do, it is going to evaluate. So without evaluating, we will not get any output. So first the statement, what it has to, whatever the statement we have written in the Python shell, it is going to read and it is going to evaluate. After evaluate, it is going to do what? It is going to print. So P is nothing but what? Print. P is nothing but print. So three things are completed. Now again it is asking for what? It is ready to execute some other statement. For example, I want to print my name. For example, print Hari or Shiva, for example. Here I am going to enter my name. Again it is going to print what? Again it is going to read. Again it is going to evaluate. Again it is going to print. Next it is waiting for what? Once again it is waiting for the statement to be evaluated. Okay, that means what? Loop. It is repeatedly doing the same thing. So L is nothing but we can consider it as a loop. So once again, I will tell you the same statements, repeat the same statements. First one is what? Here in these statements, I am going to, this is one statement. For example, let us consider this is a statement. So print hello. So first I have written the statement in the interactive shell. So whenever I am going to press enter, then automatically the statement is going to be read by the PVM, and what it has to do after reading, it has to evaluate that statement or an expression. It has to evaluate. After evaluating, if the everything is correct, automatically it is going to print the output. So here whatever the statement I have written here is correct. So it has read the statement and it has evaluated and it is going to print. So reading is completed, evaluating is completed, and printing is completed. So again it is waiting for what? It is waiting once again, it is ready to read some other statements. It is ready to evaluate or it is ready to read the statements. That is not the same thing is going to be repeated, looping. Okay, so this is called as what? Ripple tool. So R means what? Read. E means evaluate, P means print, L means loop. So I will write here so that you can understand easily. So, okay, right. Now see, here, the statement, what happens here? Initially, it is going to read, okay, R. Just I will let R. Next, what happens? After reading, automatically it has to do what? Evaluation. Here only it is going to evaluate. Okay. Next, after evaluation, it is going to do what? Print. It is going to print. And after printing, what happens? Once again, it is ready to read some statement here. That is what repeatedly it is going to do the same thing. After reading, evaluating, printing, again it is reading, evaluating, printing. See what happens? Already here, reading is completed, evaluation is completed, printing is completed. Again, repeating the same process. So we are calling it as a what? Loop. Here, the same thing is going to be repeated. So here we can consider it as a what? We can consider it as a loop. This is REPL, Ripple tool. So Python shell or interactive shell can also be, it is working based on the Ripple tool. We can consider it as a Ripple tool. So reading the expression, evaluating the expression, and printing the expression. So after printing, again the same task is going to be repeated. So L can be considered as what? Loop. So here again we are going to read the statement. Again we are going to evaluate. Again it is going to print it. Next, again what it is ready for? Again the same thing, it is ready for it is ready to read. If I enter something here, if I press enter, automatically it will read the data, and it will evaluate the statement, and next it is going to print. Again it is ready. That means the same process is repeating, so that this L is considered as what? Looping. Loop. If loop is nothing but if the same thing is repeating multiple times or many times, you can call it as a loop. Here what is repeating? Read, evaluate, print. See, read, evaluate in this step and print. Next, in this step, what happens? Read, evaluate, and print. In the same way, for every individual statement, we are going to repeat the same things. So we can call it as a what? Looping, a repeating. So we can call it as a L. So the tool name is what? Ripple, REPL. Okay, right. Next. So this is about Ripple tool. Now let us see some of the basics of our Python, some required basics of our Python. Those are what? Let us consider. If I want to do a close the statement, that means what? If I want to close the terminal, what to do? Generally, in previous session we have discussed about terminal. So generally here we are having some into bar. Okay, so that one we have to click. Otherwise, directly we are having a function called as control D. So whenever we are going to press control D, automatically it is going to exit. So once again we have to open that Ripple tool. So we can say that one as an interactive shell, Python interactive shell. So without having a shortcut, I can also use two functions. One is exit function. See here, I'm using exit function. It is asking what? Your program is still running. Do you want to kill it? If I want to close it, just I will press what? Okay. Next, third option is what? One more function we are having what? Quit. Same. Again, it is going to ask what? Kill it. So three things are there. One is what? Exit. Next one is what? Quit. And third one is what? A shortcut called as control D. So by using these three, we can what we can say? We can quit the Python interactive shell. So now, if you want to see the version of the Python, so I will show here. If you want to see the version of the Python, we are having some commands. Okay, this is our command prompt. Whatever I have opened is command prompt now. So we are having what? Which version I want to know? Python version. So type Python, and here we have to type hyphen hyphen version. Okay, so see what is the version we are using? Python 3.8.5. Okay, if you are using a earlier versions, you can get that particular version. Okay, whatever the version you are going to use, those version will be printed here. So to know the version of the Python, we have to use what? Python space hyphen hyphen version. In the same way, to quit the, okay, here for example, here I will show you something. I want to enter into Python. Okay, so see, Now this is also this same command prompt is also going to act as a shell now. So from shell, if I want to exit, yesterday I have shown you that what exit. So again I come back to where? Come back to my command prompt. Now again once again I will go back to Python shell, and here I will use a function called as quit. So again see here, you can observe here, again I came back to where? Command prompt. Again I will enter once again. So if I want to exit, what I will do? Here control D, it is not going to work. So where it is going to work? It is going to work only in the this Python shell. So this is a Python shell. Here I'm going to press control D. Automatically it is going to be closed. So you have to observe these things. So till now what I have discussed, first one is what? Ripple tool. Ripple tool means what? Read, evaluate, print and loop. The same thing is going to be repeated once again. So I am telling it as a loop. See here, the same thing is repeatedly going to process. The same thing is repeating. So I am going to have L as a loop. Read, evaluate, print. Next again, once again what happens? Again read, evaluate, print. And the same it is going to repeat. So we can call that tool as a what? A Ripple tool. Next, if you want to get the version of our Python, so better go to where? You can go to your command prompt. There just type what? Python hyphen version. Okay, you are going to get your Python version. So my version is 3.8.5. So if you are using some earlier versions, you will get those version numbers. Okay. Next, if I want to quit from the Python shell, I can use exit or quit or control D. So here if I want to exit this shell in command prompt, I can use what? Exit and quit functions. Exit or quit functions. Okay, these are the some of the basics you have to know before going to do a program, right? So now I will focus about PVM. So in yesterday's class we have discussed about PVM, we have seen about PVM. So once again I will show you and I will execute some program, and you can understand in detail internally what happens in our Python programming. So in yesterday's class, we have seen what? Java program. After compilation of a Java program, we are going to get what? Class files. Okay. After execution, what happens? These class files are going to be taken by the JVM, and it is going to convert that bytecode into machine language. Okay. We have seen that concept. Now we are talking about a Python shell. Okay. That is a Python PVM, Python virtual machine. So briefly I will explain here. Later we will see every concept what we are seeing now. Okay, right. First thing we have to see is what? Python virtual machine. Okay, Python virtual machine. So everything in our Python is going to be done by this Python virtual machine only. So we have to understand minimum basics about this Python virtual machine. So without knowing this one, if you know programming also, internally the things what happens we cannot understand. So now Python virtual machine. So just I will draw a small diagram for you and I will explain basic things initially. Okay, now see. Okay, see here. So here initially what we are going to write? We are going to write a source code. Let us consider this as a source code. After that, some unit is there. I don't want to discuss now. This is a one unit. So finally we are going to get an output. Okay, here we are going to get what? An output. So this is the process what we are going to do. So this is source code. I am giving the source code to some unit. It is going to give me what? Some output. So now I want to discuss about what happens internally here. Okay. So in yesterday class, I have discussed about C, C++ and Java. Okay. So in C and C++, we first step is what? There I am going to write a source code and I am going to use what? A concept of compilation. After compilation, we are going to get what? Which type of files? OBJ files in C and C++. Okay. After compilation, we are going to get what? OBJ file in C. In Java, what we are going to get? In Java, we are going to get dot class files. Okay. That means what? There we are having two steps. One is compilation step and another one is execution step. But in our Python, we are directly executing the statements or a program, Python program. So how it happens means, now let us see. This is a source code. I am talking about Python now. So this is a Python source file. Source file is nothing but whatever the code we are writing is called as a source file. So this is a source file or source code. Now I am sending this file. This is in which language? So who can understand this one? Human. It is a human readable language. So I will consider it as a high level language. So it is what? High level language. So what your system can understand? Your system can understand only a low level language. Low level language is nothing but zeros and ones. So who has to be there in between? Some converter should be there here. So this converter has to tell to our system to execute this program. Okay, anyway, don't worry. So now see, source code is there. I am sending to one unit. In this, what happens? I will explain now. So first one unit will be there. This is called as a compiler. But in previous C programming and Java programming, what we have seen, separately we have compiled. But here what happens? In the one single unit only, all the components will be there. One is compiler, another one is interpreter, for example, or we can say it as a virtual machine. Okay, this is what virtual machine. So why we are calling it as a Python virtual machine means this virtual machine is going to execute our program. So listen carefully now. What happens initially? Source file is there. That source file will be sent to one unit. That is, let us consider directly. I will call it as the interpreter. I will show you the diagram once again. So this is called as what? Interpreter. Inside, what this in Java interpreter does means, first thing it is going to do is what? Compile. First it is going to do what? Compile. So compiler will be there here. Compiler will be there. After compilation of this source code, we are going to get same. Yesterday I have discussed about that. That is what? Bytecode. Very important. This is what? Bytecode. Okay, bytecode. So if bytecode is generated, that bytecode will be sent to virtual machine. So that virtual machine will execute the code. So how the virtual machine will execute the code means, here it is going to refer some libraries or modules. I can say modules or library. I will write just a library. So don't worry if you are unable to understand. I will take one example and I will demonstrate this one. Right now, see here, just I will take one program and I will compile. There is no concept of compilation. It is not necessary to compile separately for Python. Internally, what happens? It is going to in the interpreter only. We are having what? Compiler. So internally, it is going to convert our source file to a bytecode, and that bytecode it sends to virtual machine. Directly, we can see what output. These all things we cannot identify. But if you want to see those code, we can see. Okay, don't worry about that. I will show you everything now. Now see, so what is meant by library, and what is meant by, for example, compiler, what is meant by bytecode, and what is meant by virtual machine, I will discuss now. Right now, see, right now I have written some code. See here, listen here, I have written some code. Oh, sorry, wait, here I will write. Here I have written some code. This is a Python source code. Okay, some code I have written. So generally for our Python, we are having a extensive library. Library means what? If I want something, so if I want something to get, already inbuilt we are having many modules are there. In our Python, we are having many modules. Inbuilt modules are there, which gives support for a programmer. That means what? If I want to perform some operation, for example, I want to generate a random number, for example, no need of writing a code for that. Already somewhere it is present. In library it is present. So just I will take from that one. Just here I have to write some statement about that. Import, just I will write one statement, import rand. In that statement I will write here, that automatically this will be this support from what I can say, this module is going to be executed here in this particular file. I will show you that. So now see, so this is what? A source file. In this source file, remember that I have written a statement called as random. Okay, next. So what happened? Compilation. After compilation, what happened? Bytecode is going to be created. So bytecode. So this is a bytecode is going to be created in which file? Dot pyc. Okay, dot, the file name is what? Dot pyc. This is what? Dot py, Python file. So this is what? Python file. This is what? Bytecode dot pyc file. This is called as what? Dot pyc file. Now what happens here? The same thing will be sent to virtual machine. So when this pyc file is going to be created, means if you are going to write a program in Python, and while you are going to compile that one, if no errors are there in this Python file, that means syntactical errors, if syntactical errors is not there, and whatever the statements that we have written in this Python file is known by our compiler, means then only it will create a bytecode. So in .pyc file, then what happens? The same pyc file will send to your virtual machine. So what happens here? See, listen carefully here. What this bytecode contains means, this bytecode contains the code related to this source file. Let us consider here, this is containing some code, so it will convert that code to bytecode. That means what? The format is changed. Just this compiler is going to check what? It will check whether all the statements are correct or not, syntax is correct or not. Yes, if it is correct, this compiler will convert the statements into bytecode. Okay, just the related, whatever the statement it is present here, the same thing will be, bytecode will be present here. Next, the bytecode will be taken by the virtual machine. And what is the statement here? I have written some random module I have imported here. So from here it will take that random module and this code, and it will give you the output. So these are the steps that are going to be done internally. So till now we don't know about the modules. So what I am going to do, I am going to create our own module. Don't worry about the modules. Just I will take the some function from the other program to one program. I will show you the everything here. Okay, right, now I will show you that. So I think you have understood this one. Now I will show you whatever the things I have explained here, I will show you in practical. So I will take two different Python programs. Okay, right, now see. So I want to take two different Python files, so that just in one file I will write some code, and in another file just I want to write a one small function. So that function I will read from another file. Okay, okay. So first just I will write a print statement. Just I'm going to write print statement, and I'm going to execute this one. First I will save this one. For example, I will save this one as first.py. Okay, extension should be what? py.py. So my program is saved in desktop, on the desktop. Okay, now if I want to execute this one, in two ways I have to execute. So by using this what can I say, command prompt, I will execute that one. So here I am going to keep exit. Right, just I'll clear the screen. Right, now see, now where is my program? In desktop. So my current working directory has to be desktop. So now I'm on desktop, so I can execute now. So now see, so Python space, what is my program name? First.py. Now whenever I'm going to press enter, internally something is going to be happen. I don't want now what happens internally, but after creating one file I will show how it happens. Internally whatever the steps I have explained till now, the same thing will be happened, and high is going to be printed. Now the concept is, yesterday I have shown you some dot class file, but now is there any dot class file created here? After compiling, after executing also, nothing is there here. No dot class file is present here. What is the reason? I will explain. So first you have understood what After creating one file, after executing, internally Python virtual machine is going to execute our program and is going to give the output. So compiling will be done by compiler and bytecode will be created. I am telling what bytecode will be created. Then you have to ask me, sir, where is that bytecode? So the bytecode will be present inside this file only. Okay. So see, if I double click on this one, what happens means it is not going to, listen carefully. If I double click on this one, you can observe something. It is going to execute. That's it. Now, if I'm going to create a new file, then I will once again I will open that. You can understand the difference between after execution, it acts as a .exe. That means what, it directly gives the output. But before execution, what it is going to show, let us see. I'm going to write a one more Python code. Okay, here I'm going to write, just I want to write one function. So don't worry about these functions. Just I'm going to write something here. You think that just I'm going to write something here. Just I'm going to print hi. Some code is written here. The coding is completed. I want to save this one as second.py. So same in the on the desktop, I am storing this second.py. So saved, completed. Now on the desktop, how many Python files are there? You can see first and second Python file. Two files are there. So if I open this one, see here, see it is opening .exe file. That means internally it is saved as what? .exe. It is opening, it is directly executing. If you want to see this one, what we have to see, how we have to open it? Right click on that and we can use edit with ideally, or we can edit with any of our editors. So now after compilation, what happens? Let us see. Now till now I have not yet compiled or executed our second.py. So Python space second.py. See what happens. Is there any output? Nothing is there because I have to call that function. Okay, just I want to show you what happens till now. Now see, is there any .pyc file created here? Nothing is created. Now I will show a pyc file that is going to be created. Now I'm modifying this program. Listen carefully. Here I am going to import second. That means what? Import second. Already you know what is in second what we are having. So see, I will show you in second what we are having. In second what we are having, I am having a function called as hi. I want this hi in first program. So just this is the name of this one is what? Second.py. So I am importing that one. Importing means what? I can get the data or functions that is present in second to the first. If I write import second. So now if I write import second, whatever the functions or whatever the classes that are available in second, I can access. So now see, so import second, here I will write what? Just I will write hello. Okay, hello, this is my program for bytecode, for example, for bytecode. Okay, here I have written this one. Just I will call a function called as hi, where hi is present inside second. So just I will write in this way. Now listen carefully. I will compile this one. What happens? You have to observe that one. Now see, is there any .pyc file here? Nothing is there. So after compilation, what happens? Let us see. So I'm going to save this one. Saved, file is saved. Now I will show you directly. While compiling, I will show you. I will keep aside these things. Right now, see, I will compile Python space first.py. Observe here. Observe something here. You can observe something. See, one separate folder is created here, and the output is what? Hello, this is my program for bytecode. Hi is printed. Now, once again, if I am going to execute, is there any other file created once again? No. Only once the .pyc files will be created. So the .pyc files will be created in a folder called as underscore underscore py cache underscore underscore. So if I go into this one, you can observe only one dot c here. You can I will show you the type of the file. I will show you so that you can observe here. See which type of file it is. It is what? Compiled Python file. Compiled Python file. That is what here it is going to contain bytecode. Okay, now you will get one small doubts that, sir, where is first.pyc? Okay, you will get that doubt. What? Where is first.pyc? So whenever we are going to execute a program, I will show you. Whenever we are going to execute a program with some import statements like this one, with this import statements, then only a separate .pyc file will be created. If there is no importing concept, then the pyc files will not be created. So that is this first is importing by any other programs? No. So .pyc will not be created. So what about the .pyc of first? So listen carefully. So the .pyc file of first is going to be stored inside this file only. Separate, it is not going to be stored. But when why it is going to be created separately means, so when compared to first.py and second.py, the second is separate from first, so that a separate .pyc is created here. So once again, if you repeatedly execute the same program, so see, repeatedly if I execute the same program, will there be any other folders created? No. Only compile it. Already compiled file is there here. It is going to give me. It is going to give me directly output. So I will change the program. Now you can observe that I will change the program. So here, see, I'm changing the program. So just I will copy this one and I will paste here. After changing, for example, here I will write what? After modification. Okay, after modification. So see, listen carefully. Now check the output. See the output now. See the output. What is there? Is after modification is printed or not? It is not printed. Reason is what? Already the compilation file is created here. Just your PVM is going to take what? This file and the compilation file that is present in first.py. The reason why this after modification is not printed means, the reason is I have not saved this one. Now see, I am saving this one. Otherwise, okay, I am saving this one. I have saved Control S. I have saved this one. Now if I execute this program, you are going to get what? See, after modification. Now internally what happens? The thing is, the first.pyc has all this data. Okay, now I will modify second.pyc. So second dot this one. So once again I will go into print the statement, that is what? Hello. For example, hello. So I am not saving. See, I have not saved this one now. If I execute now, what will be the output? Previous output only you can see. Okay, I will clear the screen. 1 minute. So I will clear this screen. Now see what happens here. Only previous output is there. Now if I am going to save this one, listen carefully. I am going to save this one. So whenever I am saving this one, and when I am going to execute this one, see what is the output? Hi and hello is printed here. Hi and hello. Why it is printed here? From here I am calling second.hi. So whenever I am calling this one, the control goes to second. That means if the control comes to this second, and here hi is there, this particular function is going to be executed, so that hi and hello is printed. So hi and hello is printed. After this function calling, what we are having? After modification. So it is going to print as after modification. Now your py cache, that means this particular compiled file, Python file, contains what? The bytecode that belongs to all these 3 lines. But before writing this statement, your Python pyc file contains what? It contains only these 2 lines, first 2 lines. Okay, right. This is about how a Python .pyc files are going to be created. Now some people will get doubt that, sir, I want to compile a Python file, that is .py file, manually. This is what I have not created this one. Automatically if I execute the program and importing the some of the modules, that is second.py, directly it is going to give me what? See, by importing this one, I got what? I am getting this PyCache. That is what .pyc files. Sir, I want to create my manually. I want to do it. Okay, I will show you. So I'm removing this one. See, I have deleted this one. So what to do for that? So one thing you have to observe is what these are not built. If you are unable to understand also, no problem. These are the basic things, internal things we have to know. Okay. So now see. So before, if we want to see those things manually, we have to import some modules. Okay. Right. I will show you that modules. A module named, see here I will write, I will go to Python. Okay. I have to import some module named as import py underscore compile. So now I'm going to import which module? Compile, py underscore compile module. That means what? All the programs or all the classes, all the functions that are present in a module called as py underscore compile is available in this shell now. So I want to use, okay, I want to use one function. That is what? 1 minute. Sandhya, please unmute your audio. Okay, right. Okay, now see Python underscore compile. So Python underscore compile. I want to compile what? A particular file. Okay, so I have to use a function called as compile. So which file I want to execute? First.py, for example. So this is what? This is called as what? Manual compilation. Is there a need of manual compilation? It is not necessary to manual compile. By default it is going to compile, but if you want to see a manual compilation, we can do in this way. So now see what happens if I am going to compile. Is there any dot underscore underscore PyCache is there here? Not there. So when I am going to press this enter, so here something is missing. That is what? The first. So here we have to place what? Double quotes. Okay, here we have to place double quotes. This is called as what? Syntactical error. So this is called as what? Syntactical error. Whatever the argument we are passing for a compile function should have double quotes. Okay, right. Now see here, you can observe here. So some compile file is created. What is the name? First.cpython -38.py. See here once again you can find what? A Python file. Okay. Internally you will have what? Python. See, in first case we are not having any first.pyc, but now see, you can observe here because I have compiled separately. So you are going to get a Python compiled file separately. Sir, now this is one way how to compile. Sir, I want to compile a second.py. Sir, just keep here second.py. See, enter. Same in this only it will store. So second.pyc. So all .pyc files, compiled files will be stored in a folder called as underscore PyCache underscore. Okay, there is a name of the folder where this compiled files are going to be stored. So now some people may think that, sir, if I want to compile a multiple files at the same time, how many times I will use this? Let us know that I am having 10 files. If I want to compile 10 files individually, if I write these type of statements individually, what happens? 10 times we have to write. So is there any alternative? Yes, we are having an alternative. That is, one function is there. That function name is main. So there we can provide what? File names. So I will delete once again this one. So for your understanding purpose. So just here I will write what? Here I will write first.py. Multiple files I'm going to provide now. Comma. That means your file should be separated by comma. So how many files I'm going to compile? So here just I will change the method name. So main method name is what? Main method. So don't confuse between main in C, C++ and Java. Okay, here this is a main. It is going to compile which file? How many files? First.py and multiple files. If you are having 10 more files, keep comma and write those names. Okay, now if I press enter, how many compiled files are there? Okay, see here, let us take something is there. Main takes 0 to one position, but two are given. Okay, see here. Here it is clearly telling what it is going to take only one. But here, how many we have taken? Here we have taken two different arguments. If I want to make it as a one argument, just I will take what? I will take list of items. Don't worry about these things. We will see it later. So here this is considered as only one. So this is only one parameter. List parameter is there. Just if I press enter now, automatically we are going to get what? It returns zero. If it returns zero, it indicates what? It is success. Okay. So now here we can observe here. See, once again, PyCatch is created. Inside that, how many files? .pyc files are there. Two .pyc files are there. That means here two Python files we have compiled here, so that in this PyCatch we are having two Python files. Sir, is it the only way to compile multiple files? Means we are having some other what we can say compilers also there. Sorry, some functions are there. So once again, I will show you that. Okay. So once I want to tell you one thing, that is, see, 1 minute. See here. Here, from where the programs are present, where on the desktop. So compulsory you have to be on the desktop. Then only it will be work. If you are in, for example, let us consider here, I'm going back to, for example, somewhere I'm not on desktop. Here, if I try to execute, listen carefully. Here, if I try to execute, oh, sorry, 1 minute. If I'm trying to compile, see, if I'm trying to compile second.py, enter. See what it is saying. Name py underscore compile is not defined. Okay. The reason is what? Here I have not imported. First thing is what? I have not imported. So if I import also, so import what the file module name is this one, compile. So I'm going to import compile. After that, I'm going to compile. See here, study this one once. No such file or directory. So it is searching for what? Second.py. Second.py is present in where? On the desktop. But from where I am going to execute, see here. What is the address here? C:/user / Saujiyammu. That means it is not on desktop. Okay. So that it cannot see a file name called as second.py. So if you want to compile or if you want to execute a particular Python file, you have to be, your current working directory should be the same. Okay. Now I will go back to that, exit, and here let us clear the screen. Okay. That means now I'm going to where? Onto the desktop. That means what? Now my current working directory is what? Desktop. That means all these files can be visible now here. Okay. So if I execute or compile this one, it will be executed now or compiled now. Okay. Anyway, don't worry about that. Now, a second way I want to show you, that is by using a module called as compile all. So I want to import one more module, that is what? Compile all. Compile all. So compile all is a module, one more module which is used for compilation purpose. So here we are having a directory. That means I will keep the same things in one more directory. Let us take one more new directory. For example, folder. Here I will take what? Some Shiva I am going to take. Folder Shiva I am going to take here. And I am going to place these two files inside Shiva. Sir, if I want to compile different files, number of files that are present in Shiva, just to use this, the function from compile all, that is what? Compile all dot, what is this? This is called as what? In technical terms, directory. We will call it as a folder, but in technical terms, according to the operating system, it acts as a directory. So it is going to give you what? Compile underscore directory. Which directory you want to execute? Where is the directory? The name is what? Shiva. Okay, Shiva. So if I press enter, internally something is happened. I don't know what happens. Okay, let us see what happens. So in Shiva, what I have copied and pasted before, first.py and second.py. Only two files has to be there. But how many files are there? Let us see here. So total how many files are there? Two are there. One more folder is created. Inside this, how many are there? Again, two more PYC files are there. You know how it is going to be done. Okay. After compilation, you are going to get these things. So here you have to observe this one. Last line is what? True. That means here it is going to return true. That means what? It is success. In before case, what happens? It returns 0. It indicates success. Okay, right. Okay, this is the in this way we can compile different files. We are having some other things also there, but this is on what we can say in Python shell. I want to show you how to compile the things from the command prompt. Okay, that means on from here. Now we have go to Python shell, and there I have compiled many things, but I want to show you here how to compile. So here directly I can compile by using an option called as -m. Python -m. Here we are having an option Python compile. So this is one module directly I'm going to execute here. So I can execute what? So I want to come back to keep these files back to on the desktop, because okay, now where those are present in desktop. So right now I want to compile only first.py. So if I write first.py, so it is going to give me what? Compiled. All the compilation is completed. So don't worry, I will remove this one. Okay, so you will confuse. Okay, now I will execute the same thing. So here I will execute the same thing. So see, once again it is going to be created. That means here I am going to show you multiple ways how manually we can generate or we can compile a Python file. Okay, sir, is it necessary to remember all these things? Are not necessary, but we should know a basic things. Okay, but generally what we will do, we are not going to focus on all these things directly. What I will do, see here first.py is there. If I go directly here, for example, Python space first.py, enter, completed. My program is completed. No need of compiling all these things. Compilation things will be take care by our interpreter. Internally in your interpreter, what we are going to have, we are having compiler. After compilation, bytecode will be created. That bytecode will be sent to where? It is going to send to a virtual machine, Python virtual machine. It is going to give the output. But internally the things, these things will be happened, so that I have created .pyc files and I have shown those things. Okay, and here in this case, what I have shown you, only I have shown you one file. If compile, sorry, if I want to compile two more files, for example multiple files, so we are having an option called as same continuously same option. I can take space, just give the space and type the second file name, second.py, enter. So see, here compilation is completed, and see here what I have done, Python space, that means I'm executing directly. But what I want to compile. If I want to compile, I have to use this statement. 1 minute, right? See, space second.py. See here, Python space first.py means what? Executing one file. If I want to execute multiple files, I can write here in this way. So now see, this is what this statement includes. See here, this statement means what? Means I am Python, I am ready to compile Python files. How many files? Give first file, second file, third file, and number of files. Don't worry about that. Okay, press enter. Okay, here press enter. After compilation is over, Python files are, sorry, .pyc files are created. So these are the multiple ways to create what we can say .pyc file. We are for compilation, we are having hyphen compile all also. Don't worry, up to here it is enough. So today what we have seen different how to generate a .pyc file and which modules are included. That is what py underscore compile, py underscore compile all we have seen. And also from the command prompt how to execute, how to create a py files we have seen. Okay, when the pyc file is created we have seen. Okay, next, so this is about a pvm. Just I will show you once the diagram of Python virtual machine. I think you can see here. So this is a Python virtual machine, so you can see. So already we have seen. Once again you can observe the Python virtual machine here. So what we can observe here, source code, internally compiler will compile, bytecode is going to be generated, virtual machine is going to take the bytecode, and if there are any library modules that are required, it is going to be taken, and directly it is going to give the output. So these are the steps we are going to follow for executing a Python program. Okay. Now last one small thing I want to tell the people who know program already, if they know at least one programming language, a small doubt I am having is what every basic things int, next I can say basic things are what float, now next and char, and many things are there. So these are the data types in programming language like C, C++, and Java. Okay, but you don't know from where we are going to get these things. Okay, so for example, uh, in the people who knows C language, I am telling printf and scanf belongs to, so C language, I'm talking about C language, printf. Okay, don't worry about other people who don't know C, don't worry, it is not related. So printf and scanf are the two functions are there. These two functions are present in which header file stdio.h. We know that very good. In C++ also, if I want, for example, if I want to consider what we can say cout and cin, cout comma cin, so these two are present in where IO stream, so I'm using directly IO stream. Okay, next come to Java. If I am considering a basic classes like system, for example string, if I am using these two, for example, these two are present in where lang package, so I have to use java dot lang package. So here we are having clarity about these things, but my question is where int, float, char are present. Maximum many people don't know about where int is present, where float is present, where char is present. If I ask you about printf and scanf, you will tell that in stdio.h, sir. Okay, in the same way I am asking where this int, float, and char are present. So you may not you cannot answer it because you may not see those things in your C, C++, and Java. But now I will show you where our basic these type of keywords are present. Okay, these type of built-ins are present in our Python. So listen carefully, I will show you those things. Just what you have to do means, just you have to import a module. One module is there, you have to import that module. Okay, I will show you here. Let us see here, no problem. Okay, import a module name called as built-ins. What is the module name? Okay, 1 minute. Built-ins. 1 minute. Okay, built-ins. Syntax, 1 minute. Okay, spelling mistake is this, sorry. Built-ins. Okay, right. So I have imported built-ins. Sir, I want to see what are the things that are present in built-ins. Just use dir function to see built-ins. Just to type this one. See. Now here you can observe. See, int is there. If you go here, float is there. Okay, if you go some other way, you can see many other things. That means if I directly I print, let us see print. Here print is a function. Okay, let us see. If we go to here, these are all classes by default, all these are available. See, import is also available. Okay, so these many are the default built-ins are there. That means what? If you are directly writing import here, so import belongs to whom? It belongs to a function, a module called as built-ins. From there, by default, is going to take. Okay, so this is about the basic things of your Python. That is, we have today we have seen about REPL tool, REPL REPL tool, and also we have seen about a Python virtual machine, and we have also seen how to what are the different built-ins where those are present. Okay,